storm, Lady Queen. How are we supposed to work in this storm?
Call me lady. You can go find the doctor to certainly remove my boot from your arse. That little breeze ain't no storm, you candy asses. Besides, we're looking for that artifact so that it can protect you precious little cupcakes from the wind. Now, get a move on, bring that dynamite over here, and let's get the fireworks started.
While the Dwarf Queen was digging in the mountains, Talia had completed a portion of the climb to the summit.
What, pray tell, do you mean portion of the climb? I just did my cardio training for the next 3 years. Is it just me, or do I end up climbing some peak in every damn part of this series?
Important things seemed to have a penchant for hiding in remote places, and the Council of Little Snots was no exception. Talia had to reach the mountain peak. The Council of Little Slots could be found there. She would have to gain access to it via the Twisted Cave system. For this reason, and of course because of the many heroes who kept appearing, it was imperative for her to build a dungeon here.
Okay, good idea. Then I can take a short breather. Okay, creatures, you're up. Dig tunnels, find dwarves, and pull out their beards.
There's stuff climbing around my mountains. Looks like it's time to clean the house. Throw that garbage back into the valley.
Ugh, those repulsive goody two-shoes, goody dwarves. Whatever. We'll show them. Go get them! Take them down! Wash their mouths out with stale soapy water. Paint thick moustaches on them. Reading my Ford Exploitation for Experts handbook and came across something about a voodoo brew.
The voodoo brew was a shamanistic site for the poor. Little Snots could make potions there that could be used much like spells.
And I only hear about this now? Damn, I could have used that thing 5 missions ago. It probably could have been used to corrode my way out of that damn cage. Come on, you little snots. Build a voodoo brew. Slap some stuff together and sell it as an energy drink.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
payday. Creatures are collecting their pay. You have lost a creature forever. Manivores have been discovered in your dungeon. Manivores have been discovered in your dungeon. A raging storm roared over the mountains. Whether heroes or creatures, they were all massively hindered by the strong winds. Perhaps this artifact the Dwarf Queen had spoken of really did exist.
Pretty damn coincidental that this artifact should be located somewhere around here, right where we need it.
Indeed, but the writers of this series have never been known for their excessive creativity.
True enough. Good for us at any rate. If that thing is anywhere here to be found, I won't let a single little snot rest until it is dug up. I will, however, allow myself a little break in the meantime.
Manivores have been discovered in your dungeon. The storm passed and lost strength. Now was a good time to hit the overworld to earn some evilness there.
What now? But I just made myself a cocoa with unicorn marshmallows. I mean, absolutely true. That's what I thought. Forward, creatures! Out into the cold with you! Pillage, plunder, move trail markers!
The voodoo brew had been built. Little Snots could now brew wonderful potions at an alchemist's cauldron there. Your army has just decreased in size due to death. The first Horde potion bubbled happily away, waiting to be used by the potion-throwing evil. You've dug into a spider room. The healing evil had poured a healing potion on its creatures to wash away their bruises and boo-boos. Isn't that nice? A storm was soon brewing. Without the protection of an artifact, the shivering evil's creatures were sure to find it uncomfortable out there. Your little snots have dug into a spider nest. Once again, a thunderous storm hit the mountains. Enemies have entered the dungeon. The storm cost the hero his life. Ding dong! It's payday! The slowly stalking evil seemed to have already come very close to the dwarven artifact. Very close indeed. And the desirous evil's little snots had found an artifact in the underground. Once placed in a vault of evilness, it would unleash its power.
Oh, wonderful. Once again, I did an excellent job. Prove it, you lazy creatures! Bring the artifact to the Vault of Evilness, so that this freezing storm can no longer harm us.
The storm had lost its strength. Dug into a spider room.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
The onrushing evil had applied horde speed to its creatures so that they could run and attack the enemy even faster, or escape more quickly, whichever was needed. A gold vein is almost exhausted. dong! It's payday! Another storm was brewing. A few manivores have appeared in your dungeon. The severely self-restricting evil only had access to healing potions. Further research allowed it to spur the production of even more powerful potions in the brutal brew. Thanks to the artifact, the broadly grinning evil's creatures were protected from the roaring gusts of wind, giving them an advantage in the fight against the heroes. The storm abated and moved on.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
The blast-happy evil's creatures had discovered a wagon full of dynamite. This could be used to clear weak rock formations out of the way.
Ha-ha! Great! If Tristan was still here, I could tie him to the wagon and then find big explosions of fun just the way they are. Come on, let's blow something up.
Your army has just decreased in size due to death. Your portal is under attack. payday.
Hey, that's another rock formation I can blast away with dynamite, right? Great.
Talia and the demolition-loving evil had used the dynamite they had found to blast a few rocks out of the way. In accordance with good old computer game logic, some treasures tumbled out of the blasted rock.
Great. We really deserve this for all the hard work. There should be an achievement for this, I think. I said so. I love video games for their important contribution to culture. Come on, let's blow up some more rocks.
Complex evil now had access to complex emotions. From now on, little snots could also make these at random. Once again, a thunderous storm hit the mountains. The storm took its deadly toll among the heroes as well. Your army has just decreased in size due to death. The storm had lost its strength. Ding dong! It's payday! A new area of the dungeon has been discovered. More rock was destroyed by exploding dynamite. Nanoballs have been discovered in your dungeon. Your portal is under attack. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein. Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein. The explosive evils creatures had discovered a weaker rock formation. A little dynamite could probably break it open. Another storm was brewing. Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. The storm raged with immeasurable force. One of the heroes could no longer resist the cold. And the exploratory evil had discovered a new entrance on the overworld. This would give them access to a previously inaccessible area of the underworld.
Oh, good. We're finally approaching the top of this damn mountain. Go, creatures! Smoke out the last few dwarves! Flatten them! Steal their wall decorations!
The storm abated and moved on. The excavating evil had found a new passage to the surface. Even though the dungeon was completely flat, this still led to a much higher position on the face of the mountain. In keeping with this, as if some invisible line sent by level designers had been crossed, the storm outside intensified. It seemed like the raging winds would last even longer from now on. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered.
Oi, lads! Surely you're not going to take away our good dynamite now, are ya? Come on, you lads. Get outside and guard that stuff!
day, creatures are collecting their pay. Your army has just decreased in size due to death.
Hey, that's another rock formation I can blast away with dynamite, right? Great. Finally, something is happening around here.
More rock was blown up, exposing treasures underneath. Once again, a thunderous storm hit the mountains. The storm cost a hero his life. More rock was destroyed by exploding dynamite. One of your creatures has died. has been...
Another entrance into the underground. Excellent! I bet it will take us all the way to the peak. All right, creatures, take that thing and wipe out all the guards.
Payday.
Enemies are in the dungeon. The storm had lost its strength. A gold vein is almost exhausted. More rock was blown up, exposing treasures underneath. Manivores have been discovered in your dungeon. Enemies are in the dungeon. Defend the dungeon heart. One of your creatures has bit the dust. Enemies are in the dungeon. A gold vein has been mined out. The mountain climbing evil's creatures had now almost reached the top of the mountain through another exit from the dungeon. The Council of Little Snots was almost within reach. A gold vein has been mined out. Another storm was brewing. The storm took its deadly toll among the heroes as well.
Oi, you punks! It's about time I personally introduced you to my fists! This one is lefty, and this one is righty, and they both smell like doom.
Oh, that's for sure. They haven't seen a bathtub in a while, have they? Never mind the rest of what they're attached to.
I know your sense of humor, little rat here. I'll try to kill you last! Die! Oi! This is all actually a bit inconvenient right now. We'll postpone our little brawl until later, you maggots!
Brynhild, Queen of the Dwarves, had made her escape. Apparently the battle had not gone quite to her liking.
Coward! Come back here! Huh. Just runs away from a fair man-to-man fight. And by man-to-man, I mean dwarf against an army of vicious, murderous creatures. Treachery!
storm abated and moved on. Payday. The glamorous evil had discovered access to the secret council of Little Snots. However, Talia had to be brought there.
Finally, I've reached the thrice-damned mountaintop. But next time, I'll have my creatures build a cable car instead of climbing something like this again.
Of course, you could always try to quit smoking and drinking and do more for your fitness. Just a suggestion. Personally, it helped me a lot. And now that I'm training for marathons, I'm...
Yeah. Thanks so much for your little prep talk. Could you please write your well-intentioned advice on a piece of paper so I can make a paper aeroplane out of it?
Ungrateful wretch. Be that as it may, Talia had actually made it to the top. There, however, all that awaited her was an inconspicuous stone gate.
That's less than impressive. Can't it glow or something? Is the battery dead? Maybe I should smack it with the flat of my hand.
Talia was obviously intellectually out of her depth, trying to decipher this riddle. All she had to do was utter the secret formula. Fladdery-Dutch.
Fladdery-Dutch.
Fladdery-Dirk.
Fladdery-Duck?
Well, that didn't work.
That didn't... very funny, hilarious. They should give you your own TV show for your jokes, you comedian.
Yes, thank you. I am waiting for offers. My agent will get in touch. In the meantime, you might want to just press that little button on the side so we can finally get back to business.
That stupid button. Stupid narrator. Stupid council of Little Snots.
Talia had finally reached the venerable Council of Little Snots, high upon Mount Snotmore. These wisest of the wise gathered together, and Talia asked them the most pressing question weighing on her mind. Would she herself one day sit on a throne as a ruler? Would she hold the strings of power in a fifth installment of the Dungeons series? Would the overpaid narrator finally shut his mouth? Wait a minute. Talia's stupid questions simply bounced off the wise little snots. The most important question in the room, and for this story, was that of a new vessel for the absolute evil. The wise little snots deliberated. When they finally stepped in front of Talia again, who still hung on to her naive dreams, mumbling, and unlike me has only been with us for 2 installments, the leader of the little snots held a bundle in its hands. Inside this bundle was a cute, cuddly, never-before-seen baby little snot. It's crazy the ideas they keep coming up with. The little snot named Gorgu had to absorb the essence of absolute evil in order to serve as an adequate substitute. But apparently the little diaper butt was not yet strong enough to absorb all of the required essence. Talia would first have to train and strengthen Gorgu before it could fully absorb the power of the absolute evil. Talia had returned safely from the Council of Little Snots. And she was not alone, but also had Gorgu in tow, a being that would soon become the new absolute evil. In his honor, the Little Snots had already built him his own room.
A room with 3 entrances seems a lot like a death trap to me. It don't do it yourself. But okay, enough of that. Babysitting this thing is really not my, well, thing. And anyway, it's cliche as hell that the main female character here is supposed to take care of a baby. What's next? Cooking someone dinner?
Well,
You're not serious, are you?
in order for Gorgu to get stronger, he needed to be fed. But it was not overpriced food in jars he craved, but something with more substance. Heroes. Living heroes. As luck would have it, a few of the resident dwarves had just apprehended some thieves. Presumably, Gorgu would find them just as tasty as normal heroes if the jailbreak planning evil were to get his hands on them.
Okay, I can kind of get on board with that after all. Okay, catch heroes and feed them to Gorgu. Coming right up.
As if on cue, Tristan chose that very moment to appear on the scene.
Talia, why are you here? Have you still not renounced evil? I have other matters to attend to. Men, seize them! Forward, men! Fight this abomination! The alliance of good shall not fail! Well, not again!
Heroes prepared to push towards the dungeon and would inevitably encounter Gorgu. Apparently, Talia had to ensure not only his empowerment, but also his safety.
Oh, this babysitting is already getting on my nerves, and I don't even get paid for it. But okay, at least the heroes come straight here to get their asses kicked. Go ahead, whack 'em on the beans, smash their gourds, put radishes in their eyes.
In order to catch living heroes for Gorgu, a prison would need to be built. Immediately, Talia and the incarcerating evil set out to build such a room.
Prison? Sounds like a sensible thing to do. Bet it's fun to watch some sorrowful characters languishing away there.
The planless evil scouts had discovered some undead that Tristan had captured. These necromancers and vampire queens would be a most welcome addition.
Exactly! More cannon fodder for the front. I mean, strong support for our army. Go on, free them. Get them out of there. Send them draft notices.
A vampire queen joined the undead evil. Her healing powers were captivating. Wonderful. Gallant evil had freed some vampire queens who willingly joined its army. Since they neither glittered nor had any interest in romantic comedies, they were most welcome in the truly evil's army. The vampire queen not only dealt damage to enemies in the area, but also distributed the life energy collected from enemies to undead creatures nearby. Payday. underworld prison gleamed and sparkled. Or normally would have, but the little snots had just cobbled it together out of old materials. Still, it would serve its purpose and keep living heroes captive. These could then be fed to Gorgus using the Hand of Terror. The ingenious evil surely knew that it was only a matter of time before heroes would descend upon Gorgu. Wisely, it cranked up workshop production in order to be able to set traps.
Sure, naturally I knew that. By all means, onward, little snots! Work faster!
You have unearthed a new area in the dungeon.
The time has come! Now it is up to us to bring the realms of good to blossom once again. There in the underground, my evil stepsister has allied herself with the deviant creatures of chaos. The absolute evil's last stand. Forward, men! Destroy this abomination once and for all!
Tristan seemed to know how to motivate his men. They rushed towards the dungeon with a battle-hardened fervor.
All right, creatures, we'll show my brother. Tear them to pieces, beat them to a pulp, and, oh, don't hurt them too much, because we need them alive for Gorgu.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. enemies are in the dungeon. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu. The baby-feeding evil had thrown Gorgu his first hero. The young little snot gleefully set about soaking up its soul energy.
Oh, the little one is so cute. Now a little pup, and then let us rain death and destruction upon the humans!
Talia's certainty of victory seemed somewhat premature, for Gorgu's hunger was far from satisfied. It would take many more heroes before he would reach his full strength. And the merciless evil had repelled the first wave of attack. But the heroes would not stand idly by and would soon move in again.
I sure hope so, because we're gonna have to feed a lot more of them to Gorgu. Come on, bring it on, like lambs to the slaughter.
The necromantic evil welcomed a necromancer into its ranks. These undead mages could rain powerful magic upon their enemies once it was researched. The zombie-like evil had freed all the captured undead, making his army even more powerful. This deserved a fanfare, but since the budget for sound effects has already been used up, I will have to do the honors instead. Doo-doo! The resurrected evil's undead creatures had previously seen a video called Thriller, or something like that, and had been in dance fever ever since. Higher-level undead demanded a necrodancian where they could indulge their latest obsession. A few manivores have appeared in your dungeon. Once again, many heroes gathered to attack the dungeon. A hero died in prison. The forgetful evil had left him there instead of feeding him to Gorgu. Most regrettable. The necrodancian had been built. Undead flocked by to swing their bony hips there. Those undead, who no longer had hip bones, just stood on the sidelines, swaying back and forth in time to the music. Your enemies are in the dungeon. Payday. Another hero attack broke uselessly on the defensive evil's dungeon. A few man-of-wars have appeared in your dungeon. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu. The destruction of the hero camp suddenly opened up a dungeon gate very close by. Ding dong, it's payday. A hero disappeared into gold. Several heroes had gathered together and were making their way to the dungeon. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. Your enemies are in the dungeon. The dwarf destroying evil had defeated the dwarven jailers and thus gained access to their secret prison.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Talia and the murderous evil had repelled an attack by the heroes with no great effort. A hero had been thrust into Gorgu's chambers. Gorgu seemed reasonably satisfied. Talia and the lamb gravy-seeking evil had probably satisfied the little one over a fifth of his hunger. The first step had been taken.
That was ridiculously easy. Open wide, Gorgu. Here comes the next hero.
a hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. A dungeon gate leading to the underground opened up in front of the delighted evil's army. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
The jailbreak preparing evil had eliminated a prison's dwarven guards. The prisoners now belonged to it alone. Payday. Gorgu's stomach was already almost half full. The budding celebrity chef even seemed very pleased with itself. Surprising, seeing as all these heroes were served raw.
Hey, what about me? I'm very satisfied myself. Maybe we'll stuff an apple in the next one's mouth.
Gorgu was besieged by heroes who fought him. Talia had to do something about it. A hero had been thrust into Gorgu's chambers. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Talia and the perfidious evil had easily repelled another attack by the heroes. Payday. A hero died in prison. The forgetful evil had left him there instead of feeding him to Gorgu. Most regrettable. A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. Once again, many heroes gathered to attack the dungeon. Enemies are in the dungeon. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Creatures are collecting their pay. Defend the dungeon heart. Talia had to act as Gorgu was being attacked by heroes.
defend the dungeon hut.
A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Another hero attack broke uselessly on the defensive evil's dungeon. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. The dungeon-digging evil had discovered an artifact. An artifact had been stored and was now manifesting its powers. Payday! A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. Gorgu slowly developed a little paunch, but the diet of only heroes obviously seemed to agree with him. At least he was accumulating lots of soul energy.
Ugh, ugh. That last hero had munched enough garlic to take out all the vampires in all of the kingdoms. But whatever. Keep it up, Gorgu. Soon you'll be a great and powerful dungeon lord, and you'll finally be able to do something useful.
A golden portal suddenly opened in the dungeon. If Talia and the overrun evil failed to destroy it, heroes would inevitably use it to enter the dungeon.
What? But all my lovingly placed traps and defense plans. I even drew them in using colored pencils. Whatever. Go on, creatures. Destroy those magical portals. Just hammer on them with your weapons. That'll destroy them. That's how it always worked before.
On the other hand, it still needed heroes to feed Gorgu, so maybe those portals weren't all bad for Talia after all. Your enemies are in the dungeon. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. A hero had been shot into Gorgu's chambers. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Talia and the perfidious evil had easily repelled another attack by the heroes. A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Gorgu was almost completely sated. He didn't need much more to reach his full potential.
All right, let's move on to the desserts. There's Raspberry Hero, Hero Brulee, and oh, what the hell, there's just more normal heroes from the dungeon. Go on, keep on munching. It's your patriotic contribution to the evil empire.
Once again, another portal opened in the dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon.
It's payday.
A hero died in prison. The forgetful evil had left him there instead of feeding him to Gorgu. Most regrettable. Gorgu was besieged by heroes who fought him. Talia had to do something about it.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
A hero had been cast into Gorgu's chambers. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Another hero attack broke uselessly on the defensive evil's dungeon. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. Defeating evil had done it. Gorgu was reasonably sated. Theoretically, all it had to do now was initiate his transformation. Or it could feed Gorgu even more to make him, even more powerful.
Ooh, that almost sounds like some kind of achievement. Ha, you bet I'm in. Go, Gorgu, dig in like it's Taco Tuesday.
This ends here and now! Men, get ready for a continuous assault on the dungeon! We will not waver! We will not give up! Victory will be ours!
Once again, a portal opened in the dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Enemies are in the dungeon. Another portal opened in the dungeon. A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Talia had to act as Gorgu was being attacked by heroes. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. Once again, a portal opened in the dungeon. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Enemies are in the dungeon.
Your throne room is under attack.
A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. Gorgu was besieged by heroes who fought him. Talia had to do something about it. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Another portal opened in the dungeon. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers.
Defend the dungeon hall.
Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. Gorgu was stuffed. He couldn't fit even one tiny little thin mint wafer in. It was time.
Come on, men! Get yourselves together and finally put an end to that thing!
Gorgu let out a deafening, satisfied belch that sent the remaining heroes fleeing.
Getting the absolute evil back on its feet was a lot easier than I thought. As I see it, the campaign won't be needing the promised 20 levels, but can actually end after the next map. Wonderful. Then I can treat myself to a nice, relaxing bath in unicorn blood.
Talia seemed very certain of victory, perhaps too certain of victory. It was negligent to believe that this story would already come to an end after such a brief intermezzo.